Okay, here we are at Lakeside Park in downtown Oakland, and I'm here with one gentleman, Mr. Eddie Abrams, a community activist for many, many years, the House of Unity, and he has recently taken up his anchor and set sail to Texas. Every once in a while, Mr. Eddie Abrams comes back home.
Yes.
The real home.
Right.
So I just want to...
Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas, the home of the Longhorns?
Exactly.
Okay, so we got the Raiders out here, and I guess we're going to have to... You have to kind of divide your... I guess who you're gonna cheer for.
Yeah, well, I got it already. They're trying to make me Texans. We got so many Californians moving from California to Texas.
Okay.
And they just told me the other day, say, Eddie, we got to start us a California club. But the Texans says too many of you from California are moving here. Why don't you quit? But I'm not coming back.
Okay, yeah.
Michael, I really didn't want to leave Oakland.
Yeah.
Being ingrained for 61 years here in Oakland, all the way from Mississippi at age 15, and 61 years here in Oakland, very active in the community. You name it, we did it. Had a show on Soul Beat television.
Yeah.
Traveling, everybody talk, say let's, I'll say go with my camera. So I have, so what I did, Michael, when I moved to Texas,
yeah,
I had to build more shelving for my content, for all the tapes I have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of getting used to Texas now.
So now, yeah, I was just going to ask you about the body of work of all of the community activities that define Oakland. You have it.
I have it. In fact, we gave, the last event I gave in Oakland was at the Senior Citizen Center in East Oakland,
okay,
where we were trying to pull the various black organizations together. That was in 2009, September the 6th, 2009. And so Barbara Lee was my keynote speaker there. And when she first got up, she says, Eddie Abrams have more footage, more history of Oakland than anyone else I know, including me. She said, he gives me some tape sometimes I never knew he had tape, and it was such a blessing for me to have all that tape.
So I could say a name like a Ron Dellums, and you could go back and say, yeah, this is what I can say about Ron.
Well, you know, Ron, when he was running for mayor,
yes,
they donated my time. Gene Hazard, no pay or anything. He just donated my time to follow Ron around with my camera, so every house will have a tape of Ron Dellums. That's
him
awesome.
Doing the coffee clatches and the house meetings?
All of it. In fact, I have a videotape made of Ron Dellums, everything leading up to his elections. Yeah, I've got it all.
Sure.
And I just briefly, I have the Million Man March, where I interviewed over 80 people at the Million Man March. You would be surprised of all the comments, and it's such a positive thing. So that's just a hint of what we have.
That was a huge benchmark. That was 1995, wasn't it?
Exactly.
Man, I'm telling you, that was, they say there was more than 1 million folks there.
Yes, my son and I, we went, and we got up at, we thought we was early. We got up at 3:30 in the morning to get down to the mall, down to the mall.
Yeah.
And we got there, it must have been 1 million then. And Michael, they kept coming.
Wow.
I interviewed Leo Bazile, who after the march, and he told David Glover, got a tape of Oker. David Glover got a copy of that tape, and I'm going to be distributing those tapes later on. And my tape, I'll just be brief. My tape consists of grassroots people, Michael and Eddie Abrams, and Jimmy Guy, and Otis,
some of the people
Otis Sanders. The grassroots people, you don't see on my tape, you don't see Farrakhan, you don't see Jesse Jackson, you don't see the big names. You see us expressing ourselves in the most spiritual day that I ever attend.
Yeah, wow. I'm just going to ask you now, you said 61 years. I got to use the math here. So you were back here in the 50s or something?
I came to California in 1948.
1948.
I always say I escaped Mississippi. I escaped in 48. Left that mule hooked to the fence and got
you were a military man though, weren't you? Weren't you a military man at one time?
I went in the military from here. I was with the California National Guard.
Okay.
We were activated August 21st, 1950.
Okay.
You had to be 17 years old to be in the National Guard, and a lot of the fellas lied on their age because there was no jobs for black folks. All they could get was paper routes at those days, and they had a McDonald's and all that. So you only had so many paper routes. Yeah. So a lot of people lied to join the National Guard. That was a little extra money. But when the war came along and we got activated, they started crying to their mama, I'm too young. I don't want to go. So yeah, but I did go. I was as of age. Korean War, you're right. Yeah.
So now
and I started a reunion with the Korean veterans here. We most here for California in this area.
Yeah.
So 20 years after the date we were activated August 21st, 1950. August 21st, 1950, I started the reunion of all of us so we could get together and fellowship again.
Wow. So that means
I got tapes of that also.
I was going to say you must have a library that is unequaled in any. I mean, just I remember all of the different things that you would always be there. I mean, I remember Chauncey Bailey. I mean, can you tell us about Chauncey?
Chauncey Bailey, there's a tape out, and it's called The Day After. This gentleman, I can't think of his name right now. He came to my studio, Joe Debro.
Oh, yes, Joe Debro.
Joe Debro.
Another community
leader. Joe Debro gave the guy my name, and I didn't want to do it at first because I know Dr. Bay very well. I had a lot of tape on him, a lot of footage on Chauncey Bailey.
Sure.
So he came and he interviewed us. There's a tape out, and somebody called me and said they saw it the other day, The Day After. That's the name of the tape, The Day After. But I want to show both of them. I'm putting the two tapes together. The footage I saw at the bakery, I might be the only one who have that footage of the bakery because sometimes they try to say it was dirty and all this, but it was showing the workers inside the bakery. So I'm going to put that on the front end. Then I'm going to attach the day after that, so they can see the full picture.
Yeah. Now, I want to get a memory that you might be able to share of Keith Muhammad.
Keith Muhammad. Yeah. Keith Muhammad and I, good friends.
Okay.
Real good friends. And I've been associated. That's when people ask me, am I Christian, am I Muslim? I'm all of the above, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I don't separate people by their denomination. But Keith Farrakhan came here and one day, but he didn't come on a promotional tour. He just came to talk to Keith about the school that he's running. And I was the only camera that he was allowed inside the Mosque 26 with Keith Muhammad. And I have footage on that too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Keith has been working, on the killing that occurred on January 1st with Oscar Grant.
Okay.
Singularly, he has been there from the moment of the death all the way to the present time. And I mean, I've never seen that kind of real, genuine leadership. And he went to Los Angeles. He was in the trial. He went to the trial every day, and he gave us a few reports back. But just a marvelous human being in terms of his total commitment, holding Saturday meetings ever since this killing took place.
Yeah.
What do you think about me? I mean, in a sense, he's kind of coming up in following up in your footsteps in that sense. He's there. He's got the information, and he's reporting to the people who need to know.
I respect him so much, and you have to be there. It's like, I mean, it's like yourself, and and Jimmy Guy, Otis Sanders, people who are out in the community, not getting a whole pay, but know something need to be done, and there's so few people doing it. And so that's why I expect he's just one of the few who are out there in the community telling our story in lieu of just relying on his story. Yes.
Well, I always remember this baseball quote. The manager said, "You just hold them to the 7th inning, and I'll think of something."
By then,
so we have to think of something. We have to, what does all of this mean? What does all of this footage that you have from I mean, it's more than just memories. I mean, there's information that is the landscape, the political landscape, the educational landscape, the entertainment landscape. You've had both feet, both arms, and you've jumped into it. What do you do with this much body of work?
At this point in time, I don't feel comfortable in going to the hereafter with all this. And so I'm trying to chronicle for future generations to see how it was back then. At 78 years old, years of living, I'm not done with life yet. And I never want I never want people to think of me as to what I had of material things. I would like for people to see me as maybe just touching somebody. And this is what I want to say to the people out there, and especially the young folks. It's not, if you have an event and a whole lot of folks don't show up, that's okay, because the people who are supposed to be there will be there. And your position in life might be just to touch one person.
That's right.
But without that touch of that one person, who might go in and touch millions without your touch of that one person. So we don't look at the crowds and the money or what you have. You follow inside, everybody know their purpose. Like you know your purpose. You're a playwright. You do Malcolm X. You do all the things that people just glory over. And so when you put your when you write your play, it's going to work.
Yeah.
And it
yeah.
always does.
Yeah, and matter of fact, I wrote a marvelous play about Nat Turner.
Oh,
And,
yes.
And, you know, I was able to put, as a matter of fact, I know you had to be in there somewhere, but that play is timeless.
Yes.
You know, I'm trying to think now, why did the slaves fight for their humanity at a time when Nat Turner had to say something to them to make them believe that they had a humanity to fight for?
Yes.
So I was trying to think inside of Nat Turner's head, get in there and try to say, I'm going to persuade you, I'm going to convince you to come with me because our freedom is right here in our hands.
Yes.
You know, and so that's why I did that. Now, there weren't that many people opening night. I think you could probably count there were probably more people in the cast.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until about 10 or 15 years later, I'm going way back to the 80s, 82, when I wrote this. But finally, by the year 2000, I had the Scottish Rite Center filled up, 1,200 people. Had the Malonga Castle Lord, had a weekend series. 400 people wanted to know about Nat Turner and what the heck did he say to those guys to make them come and take life for their own humanity. And we are the result of that rebellion that took place.
We are because of them.
Yeah, and so
because of people like that.
You've been stirring the pot. You have records that people would forget because they don't remember. You got a lot of people.
And it's so important. It's so important, especially for our youth, because the truth is we're kind of losing it now. Your parents and my parents, they were more involved in the movement. They had seen the head-on hurt. And so, but our oncoming generation, they didn't have to really ride in the back of the bus. Yeah. They didn't have to be all segregated. They didn't have
so you're telling me that you saw people ride in the back of the bus?
I'm 7 or 8 years old.
I mean, you can imagine somebody 15, 20 years old saying that's an OG right there. I mean, you get that a lot.
And the story needs to be told. I mean, it needs to be told like even now. And with the climate right now, the racism, with Barack Obama being president of these United States, and some people who was on the borderline who thought themselves as good, now they're coming out because people just can't stand the fact that this black man is president. We got to face up. You know, we just got to face up. And our young folks, especially, we got to get out and vote. We can't just sit back and say, let someone else do it. We have to use our bit, because people suffered and died. They don't even know that. So we have to tell our story.
Okay, but now let's talk about our story and about the civic responsibility, voting and other things, and then family. I mean, these are the pieces that are missing in this important puzzle.
Amen. And this is why I named my organization, established in 1978. Family, starting with Family Resource House in our Unity. And I'm trying to get my people to come together as a family. When I look at a family, I see a father head, I see a mother head, I see the children taking care of their responsibility. See, my mother had 15 children, and my mother was a dictator. But she ran it. She ran the house. She didn't have time to explain. When she tell us to do something, we were on our way doing it, because she's got 15 children and she's got to go and with the old scrub board and wash the clothes, cook 3 meals a day. In those days we call it breakfast, dinner, and supper. Now they just have dinner. But you had to eat and you had to go to the field. So those women, this is why I think so much about women, Michael. I think so much of, and especially I have to say it about the black woman, because she was more burdened than anyone else, but she kept the family together. Going back to family, that's why I say family. I named our organization established in 19 Family Resources. So I figured we as a black family, using our own existing resources, we don't have to look outside of ourselves. In unity, there's simply nothing we can't do. But we have to have the mind and we have to have the resolve to get it done like our ancestors.
But I'm looking at it, and it looks like that the social fabric has been tattered. I mean, it's like it's been disintegrated. I mean, what happened to the family just around the same dinner table that you talked about, or supper table? What's up with that?
Well, you know, we don't have it anymore. Well, we don't sit around the kids. Sometime, and I'm not ashamed because this is the truth, sometime we had to, with my mother having all those kids, sometime we had to sleep 3 or 4 per bed. And when company came, when our aunts came from town, we call it, we sleep on the floor, a pallet. I'm not ashamed of that, but it was a bonding time. And when we ate, wholesome. We sat around the table. Times are different now. Kids will come in and open the refrigerator and get what they want or whatever. They have their own television in their own room. We've made it too comfortable. You see, so we struggle, and so during that struggle, we had to go to school. School was segregated in my days. I remember the time when I opened my book and the teacher said, "Eddie, turn to page 76. I turned to page 76, there was none, because they were passed down from, these things need to be known. They were passed down after the white folks got finished using them, they would pass down to us. Basketball, we didn't have a gymnasium where I came from, but they played on a dirt court. The uniforms was passed from the white folks back down to the black folks. And the reason I'm saying this is because a lot of Caucasian who was really on the borderline and really not bad people, but they haven't walked in our shoes. They haven't been refused a lunch. They haven't been had to worry about the Ku Klux Klan riding on them. You understand? So they think good in their heart. They say, well, what do black folks want? We want our humanity. We want, you know.
Which is what Nat Turner was talking about.
That's what going back to Nat Turner.
So now, but what about your moral compass? Your I don't know if we should call it religion or spiritual or cultural, but it's got to be in the mix there. I mean, how were you brought up?
Well,
moral compass.
Well, you know, the thing was, and not just me, but the youth in our community, respect our elders, respect our elders, get the best grade you can in school, go to school, because this is your out, is getting an education, do unto others, sort of go back to the Bible for those who read, just do unto others. It's not all that difficult. But the world seemed to be getting away from that, and the rich seem to be wanting to get richer. They'll do anything to get more money. Couldn't spend the money they got in 20 lifetimes, and we got people here in this country starving to death. Something is wrong.
Why can't that be spread about? It would make the most sense. And you know, if you got air in your tire and you got a great big truck and I got a little bicycle and I need a little air, we can still both roll just by you giving me a little bit of air. That's what real power is, and that's what your legacy has been, is that you have given it to the other folks. You have taken everything that they've done and you've filmed it, you've asked them questions about it, you've rolled it over, you've looked at it, and now you know, and I won't even say you're in the winter of your years, because you keep flying back and forth between Austin and Oakland. And
I enjoy good health. And people ask me, so what? People say, you look younger than your age, why you do? I say, you know, when you're free, when you're not full of hate, and you're full of giving, it's a truism that it really is more blessed to give than receive. I never received a penny. When you do a TV show, you know what I'm saying, you got to buy your camera, you got to buy equipment, you got to do so many things.
Pay for the parking.
Pay for whatever, and all of this. But you do it, but you never seem, when you do that, when you're into giving, you never be short of something to give.
You'll be having both hands on the things that you've given over the long decades.
Conversely, you'll find people that's always complaining and say, why has he got so much more than me? Why are they doing so good? You have to ask them one question: what have you given? And giving is not always monetarily. See, people got to get that right also. Giving is what you're doing now. You're not getting paid for this. You know, no, you're not. You know, everybody, this whole crew here, Otis Sanders, Jimmy Guy, yourself, you're here doing this to serve the country, indeed the world, to try to bring some light.
Well, speaking of serving the country, I mean, what do we make of all of the history of the body of work that you've done? We're back here in Oakland. We're at a very contentious time. The economy is down.
You're right. Everything.
There's been a big oil spill, you know, BP, and I mean, there's all these other things, and people are getting affected in Oakland, particularly young people.
Particularly.
What would be the next things that we should be thinking about doing?
Actually, surround everything that we do should be around unity. I use that word, you know, to do things together. You just said it early on about the little air in the tire. That's unity. That's using your existing resources and combining, and you do that in unity. So right now, I'm sorting out, like I say, I'm not done with life yet. And so I'm in Oakland. May I tell you this little story real quick? In the year 2000, I'll just give you the framework of what we're involved in now. In the year 2000, that was the 100th year that James Weldon Johnson penned that song, Lift Every Voice and Sing, the centennial. And no one was doing anything in Oakland. So I thought this was a shame, because the man is so much more than writing that song that people don't know the history about him. He's in the category, well, he's in the category with Martin Luther King, really, when you get to know what the man was about. But he was writing for Abraham Lincoln's birthday on his front porch.
So he wasn't writing a song?
No, he wasn't doing it. He didn't know anything about the Negro National Anthem. No, it wouldn't even come to his mind. He was doing something, but so I put an event, and I taped that too. I taped everything. At Cosmopolitan Church. My cousin, a lot of us used to sit. And Dr. Molefi Asante was coming to town at the same time. He's one of the greatest scholars that I know. I've gone to Africa with him more than once. And he called me and said, I'm coming to Oakland, and once I finish my seminar, the people are paying me. If you have anything for me to do, I'd like to do it. And it's the same time I'm planning this event. So he's my keynote speaker.
Yeah.
Henry Gardner, the ex-city manager of Oakland.
One of the best.
One of the best. One of the best. And I got him to talk on James Weldon, because you couldn't graduate from Henry Gardner's school that he went to without knowing all the verses, and he had to know the history of James Weldon. So he came, and it was the best program that I ever put on. Only had a monthly plan for it, but I'm saying if we have the right spirit, things just seem to work out. So he did that. But I said all that to say this: during Henry Gardner's presentation, before James Weldon Johnson died, he went to an event to old school, and they surprised them by having 500 black youth singing Lift Every Voice and Sing. They wasn't reading it. They had learned it. And he knew in his spirit, say, we've got something here. And it took a life of its own. And now all over this country, people are singing Lift Every Voice and Sing. Well, after that event, I started thinking, in fact, I made a statement right after that event. Everybody was so high. I said, we should be doing this every year to get the information out on this man. But we didn't do it. Now here it is 10 years later.
10 years later.
And the spirit hit the old man again. Said, you got to get it.
Well, now, you have all this new technology, website.
That's right.
Okay, what is it?
I'm building a website, and I want to tell people right now, the website is, remember the 500 kids? That's easy. www, you know that, 500 voices. VOICES. .com. You pull that up, you will get the information on what we're going to do with Lift Every Voice and Sing. The vision is, starting with California, I'm bringing these two states together. Now that I'm in Austin, Texas, you know, we hit on that, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Well, I'm in Austin, Texas. We're going to bring Texas and California together with 500 kids, and I hope this can be done in the year 2000 and 11.
Okay.
The first of 2011.
Okay, so that's next year.
That's next year. But things have started working, so it seemed like we're going to pull it off. And we're starting with, but not limited to, California and Texas. But it's going to wind up, so we're going to have every state in this union involved with having 500 black youth at the same time, on the same date, in every state in this country.
Singing.
Now, singing that song, Lift Every Voice and Sing. Now, a lot of people out there say, how are you going to do it? I don't have time to explain that to you. All I want you to do is
the Lord work in mysterious ways.
Look at the website, folks. And my email is Abrams, ABRAMS, _ HOU, yahoo.com. We'll start communicating. I have a committee here in Oakland, a committee in Austin, Texas. We're going to get this done. And it's going to be one of the greatest events. This is a movement, folks. This is no plaything. And for those of you who say we can't, step aside. For those that know what we can, get on board.
There's a train a-coming, picking up passengers.
So people get ready. There's a train a-coming. Don't need no tickets. Just get on board.
All you need is faith. You hear the diesels humming. You don't need no ticket. You just
praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Well, I want to thank you. I know we're getting ready to. We only have a few minutes left, but I just wanted to say now you're here now, and so part of it is putting in each one of the main pieces to get those voices. And to have it. So I'm sure what we can do is we can probably set something up from some of the wonderful halls that we have right here in the Bay Area. You know, we could do something right here in Oakland, couldn't we?
Oh, yeah. See, and so I've got it all planned. See, people say, how are you going to get 500? It's so simple. We have to explain that when I talk to them, but we're going to get, we need to briefly, I think our time is about up. I think our time.
No, we're fine.
We're fine? But it's going to be not as difficult as people say, how are you going to get 500 children? Most every church in here, that's where your faith community come in. Most every church have a music department. All you have to do is we're going to ask the pastor to let his music to teach maybe 15 or 20 kids per church.
And then you bring all of those different...
just have them to learn the song, learn the words. Then you bring all those together. It's going to do more than just a song. It's going to bring our denominations together. They're going to be able to cross the stage of wherever we are and say, I'm Dr. Son, this is my church. We get to know each other in this country.
Yeah.
We get to see each other as individuals.
Yeah.
And we got to understand that we are all for the same purpose. We want
Yeah.
the best life for ourselves
Yeah.
and our children.
Wow.
But this is going to do so much more than just the song itself.
Yeah.
Because the song itself is a prayer.
Yeah.
And it's for real.
Can
And
you
it's true.
imagine you would have to, I mean, trying to just to coordinate in one city. Can you imagine in 500 cities?
That well,
Or in-
well,
in
well,
50
that well,
states?
but we certainly we're going to reach every state in this union, and see that in and of itself. And it's not about a selfish thing; it's about bringing our country together.
Okay.
You know, we have so much turmoil in our country. Our people, we got to figure out hope. This is a movement.
Mhm.
This is a movement.
Well, you know,
and it's
we'll-
not about me. It's not about people don't look at me. And I know how we are sometimes. If we don't think of an idea and head an idea, we don't want no part of it. That's fine too, because it's going to be enough of us who can see the vision and let the other ones just step aside. So I'm not worried about the naysayers. I'm just concerned about the people who want to get on board, because the train is coming.
That's right. And you know, today's a very special day. So why don't you speak to August the 28th?
Well, one thing about August 28th is the day that Martin Luther King, you're right, Martin Luther King, and they're trying to make something out of that, and I don't want to get into that now. It's also the day of my reunion, which started, Abram reunion started 120 years ago,
Okay.
and it came to California, and I just came from that reunion today. But the main thing is Martin Luther King saying that song, and I just want to say real quick, I just don't have much time. Look at here, I've got a tape of Martin Luther King that most people don't know was 1967 at Stanford University.
Oh,
That's gonna,
I know that one. Yeah.
isn't that awesome? Because he's talking about the two Americas. He's talking about the two Americas. He's talking about white folks and black folks going to have to come together and get it done. And this is going to get it done.
Well, thank you so much. And now you just brought up that famous, marvelous speech,
Wasn't
and
something else?
of the most eloquent.
It was.
And
I
it
think
wa-
one of the best.
And guess what? He just got up and he spoke.
And he spoke.
Right from his heart,
That's
which you
it.
can't beat. So I want to thank Eddie Abrams for coming back to California. He's been making an annual trip, sometimes twice in a year, but clearly he's here. He's a man on a mission, and so it's our responsibilities as viewers of Oakland is and all the other programs, and to help us make this dream come true. So people get ready, huh?
Get ready. There's a train. It's
Look at
right
that.
on. Don't need no ticket. Just get on board.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. So long.
So long.
Yeah, that's.